Well, yeah, sun means politics. Sometimes politics means punch-ups, maybe in South Korea and Taiwan or Houses of Parliament. But in Canada, it came close in the House of Commons yesterday as the Harbour government budget bill passed. Let's get to ringside, pun intended, and Jessica Hume. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning, Pat. Yeah, you know, I think swearing might be as bad as it gets, but can I call this a cat fight? I feel like it was largely hormonal. And there were it's not just me, there were some other MPs saying too much testosterone over there. But yeah, there was a confrontation in the House of Commons yesterday. Now, Peter Van Loan, he's the House leader. It started when he marched across the floor, finger and tongue wagging over to Nathan Cullens. Now, he's the NDP House leader. A bit of an exchange. Now, the microphones were off, so unfortunately, we couldn't capture any of the gold that it no less was. But things did get heated. Mulcair was involved, and eventually Peter MacKay had to come over and try to diffuse things. But apparently there was some serious language being thrown around. Now, we have heard that Nathan Cullens is not going to lodge a formal complaint. Probably the best decision he could make, because the whole point of, what initiated this whole kerfuffle was the fact that Nathan Cullens was trying to have the government's vote on this omnibus budget bill deemed invalid because Jim Flaherty, the finance minister, had been absent. Now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense considering Flaherty is one who not only introduced the bill but moved to have it passed in the House. So nonetheless, yes, the omnibus budget bill C-35 passed yesterday. So this was after 6 hours of voting in the House of Commons. Not as bad as the first round of omnibus budget bill voting, but it did pass nonetheless. And many people are not happy. We heard from some MPs, the Tory Laurie Hahn, saying it was a victory for jobs, growth and prosperity. Others not really so much. One big objection to this bill was that it deals with, or it includes rather, I should say, a lot of elements that some say don't have anything to do with the budget, such as what some have called the gutting of the Navigable Water Protection Act. First Nations chiefs also not very happy with this budget's passing. They were on the Hill earlier this week trying to send some messages to the government. They feel that they are negatively impacted by the implications of this bill, and they haven't really had their fair share of time to express their concerns with it. But so while the budget bill did happen, looks like the CNOC potential takeover of Nexen, this is something that we still don't know whether it's going to happen. Yesterday, we had Christian Parody, the industry minister, explain that the December 10th deadline for making a decision on that takeover is likely going to be extended yet again.
Yeah, because they had to figure out...
You know what is coming. I would say stay tuned. I cannot go further than this. I don't want to speculate.
You can't say one coming after the other?
Look, the markets are sensitive, and I prefer not to elaborate on this, but you know what is coming on, and then after that you will find out about the sequence. But as I said, we will go out when we are ready to do so.
So Parody doesn't want to say very much more because the markets are so affected by this. But the truth, Pat, is I know that you know, they already have been. The Nexen shares have fallen over the past few days. They were falling yesterday at the New York Stock Exchange. They've been fluctuating over the past few weeks. And, you know, in terms of the delay, why the delay? Well, I mean, ostensibly, it's because the government still hasn't figured out a definition for net benefit. Now, this is what they have to demonstrate in order to justify the foreign takeover of a domestic company. But, you know, Conservatives, many Tories, and not just the Tories, are very apprehensive about selling off a Canadian company to China. You know, it's known for spying on Canada. It's also known for its abysmal human rights record. But just a few weeks ago, we learned from leaked documents from Foreign Affairs that as part of the government's wanting to broaden its markets and improve its economy, it's more than happy to do business with countries, rather, that don't necessarily share the same philosophy as Canada.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Jessica, it comes against the background that they're trying to work out some kind of a deal, reciprocity with China, for instance, because this is a state-owned Chinese corporation, but also Malaysia, because they're looking at properties in Canada as well. So better to get it right than to rush this through and stick to the deadline. I suspect is, you know, what the government is thinking. Yeah,
well, I know many opposition MPs are hoping that that definition of net benefit comes ahead of the Nexen decision, rather than the decision being based on how on that decision, if you know what I mean. So we have a blueprint before we decide, rather than deciding and using that blueprint going ahead in the future.
Yeah, exactly, because it could dictate a lot that happens in the future. So very interesting.
Indeed.
Thanks, Jessica.
You're welcome.